Welcome back, everyone. It is Wednesday. Feels like Friday because we've just put on a 24-hour conference, back-to-back days. Hope that everyone has been having a good time. Where to start? I want to start by thanking everybody that tuned in over the course of the last 48 hours. We've got a strong lineup today, arguably our strongest session in terms of keynotes and headline speakers. It is a very timely topic on how we're actually going to govern the chaos of these decentralized systems. Meltem Demirors from CoinShares is going to bring the heat to start us off in just about 10 minutes here. And then we're going to do a panel on DAOs, a panel on the process of gradually decentralizing, and then a special case study with Zcash, Zuko, Wilcox, Peter Van Valkenburg, Mario from Placeholder, talking about this kind of multifaceted community approach that they take into decentralizing Zcash's governance, which was a year-long process that was successfully completed late last year, early this year. And then we're going to wrap things up with a fireside chat with someone that I've admired for a long time, Albert Wenger from Union Square Ventures. Specifically, we're going to talk about his book, World After Capital, which I feel like gets timelier by the day. Hope that everybody is staying safe, particularly in the U.S., in light of everything that's going on. Not just coronavirus, but now with the economy and social unrest. We are playing 2020 on expert mode in this simulation. But it's not all bad, as hopefully everybody's gotten a good glimpse of the last couple of days. So the title of this session is The State of Self-Sovereignty. And we were going to spend a little bit more time talking about our registry initiative, about our plans to decentralize the registry initiative, and ultimately why we get out of bed in the morning to do what we do. And I will give you the quick and dirty version of why we started Messari in the first place. So Dan McCardle, my co-founder, and I, Dan, who won the charity poker tournament, by the way, not that it was rigged. Dan and I started the company in late 2017 in the midst of the ICO euphoria. And a lot of folks were talking about data integrity at the time and talking about the wild valuations they saw, the complete lack of fundamentals, which everybody kind of took for granted. But as long as number was going up and everybody was getting rich, it was fine. We just tried to start with some very, very basic stats that would be table stakes in the legacy financial markets. And we couldn't come up with things like circulating supply and estimated inflation rate and insider stakeholdings. So we recognized that while a lot of other data companies were talking about building a quote unquote Bloomberg for crypto, there's very few people that were actually working on the underlying data structures and standards. So we said, we got to go a layer deeper and talk about building an EDGAR-like repository of information. Not that these are securities, not that there will necessarily be a top-down command and control structure that will be able to report on these things, but we need to have some type of community standards for what can actually constitute fundamental value, what are some of the table stakes bits of information we get. So we went line by line. And ultimately, Dan self-produced by himself the beta of onchainfx.com, which became our screener at Messari. And it was simple. It had 60 assets. It had fully diluted market cap and a number of other interesting bits of information. But the back end of that system was really going to require some cooperation with different members of the community, and in particular, the leads at the various crypto asset projects. We set out to essentially position ourselves not only as a data company, but a Big Four type of auditor that would help process this type of information. Launched our registry initiative late in 2018, and have since worked with over 80 teams, 50 of whom you saw present over the course of the last 48 hours from our registry membership. And we collect things like their token economics, their governance, their insiders, their key investors, their roadmaps. Encourage you to go search and check out messari.io/registry and then poke around at some of the profiles there, because you will see the depth of information that we get, not only on a static basis, but continuously update with these different teams. And we intend to keep investing in that over time, making the information more dynamic, more digestible, It is currently available via API. It is also currently available in PDF form if you just give it a test and download, save to PDF. There's a lot more work that we need to do for our pro subscribers. There's a lot more that we need to do on the registry initiative, but the pace at which it is developed has been fantastic. So we need your help. We are continuing to plan on how we can decentralize this over time. Right now, we are one, but we do think that Messari will ultimately be one of about a handful of entities that serve as the verifiers and independent auditors, if you will, of truth for these different community governed protocols. So we hope that you'll check it out. And thank you all for your support. Thank you to our registry members, not only for joining for the last 48 hours, but for actually embracing transparency and being self-regulatory in nature in terms of following common sense guidelines for disclosures, community transparency, and just good faith efforts to make sure that all of their stakeholders are well aligned and fully informed as to what's going on within the projects. Alrighty. So that said, Messari.io/registry. Thank you to our registry teams. And I'm going to move into a little bit of housekeeping before we bring Meltem on. I'm not going to step on a second of her time because I know everybody's going to want to see what she has to say. She always lights it up. Hi, Meltem. I can see her backstage, but well, at least I can see her typing. So just a couple minutes of housekeeping here. This is our last half-day session for this particular event. If you have feedback, DM me at 2BitIdiot. Email us at Messari. Pop into the chat. Messenger pigeon. Whatever you want. We want to know how we did. We want to know what you liked, what you didn't like about the platform, what you liked, what you didn't like about the programming. We are going to do more of these in the future, but I guarantee you we are never going to do another 24-hour conference because it was insane. I shouldn't say that, but we're going to need to take at least a year or 2 or 5, depending on when Alexa, at Alexa KPR, who has moved mountains to make this happen, whenever she recovers from this ordeal. So give her a follow, give the Messari team a follow, including our analysts who worked equally hard the last 48 hours, in particular on the proof of work sessions around the clock at Eric Turner. He's missing a letter from his @ handle. He's gonna have to drop it somewhere in the chat. I think it's the last E. At Eric Turner, at Wilson Lithium, at JPurdy17, and at Ryan Watkins. They lit it up. They gave much better intro presentations than I am right now. And they've generally been doing a fantastic job on all things research. And then last but not least, if you'd like to do business with us, check out Ben O'Neill, find him in the chat, find him on Twitter, or me. He and I tend to tag team these sorts of things. So when you send an email to me or a DM to me, and it's something business related, he and I usually take it over the line, and we'll get back to you pretty soon. So the entire Messari team thanks you, and I thank the Messari team, which has been the most productive events team that I have worked with. And I do not say that lightly or disparagingly to my favorite former colleagues at another event company. But what we've been able to do in the last 6 weeks is something that usually takes professional competent event teams about 6 months, as I know from experience. Thank you, Alexa in particular, who's backstage at Alexa KPR. Thank you, Ben, at Ben J. O'Neill, Ben H. O'Neill. Damn, that everybody just had like a memorable @ handle. This would be a whole lot easier. And at Eric Turner.